Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ida Faizer Rizvi and my registration number is 003 and I am the first member of Group 1. And my topic of presentation is Stages and Development of Ayasofiya in Different Eras. I hope most of you are familiar with this topic, but to the ones that are not familiar with this topic, we are here to discuss about this topic. As I am the first member of the group, so I will discuss about the history of Ayasofiya and my other group members will discuss more about it. So there are also different stages in the history of Ayasofiya. First of all, Ayasofiya was constructed as a church, and after that it is converted into a mosque and then into a museum. So I will discuss in detail about the history and about what happened during the construction of Ayasofiya and the things that happened during the construction. So at first, let's discuss about Ayasofiya and where it is present and what is the meaning of Ayasofiya. So, Ayasofya is present in Istanbul, which is the capital of Turkey, and it is also called as Hagia Sophia, which means holy wisdom. It is one of the most glorious monuments of human history. As I have discussed earlier that there are different stages in the history of Ayasofya, so let's start from the first point, which is when Ayasofya was a church. So, at first, Ayasofiya or Hagia Sophia was constructed as a church and it was built for the Greek Orthodox Christian Church. The first Hagia Sophia was constructed in 360 AD. At the time of first church construction, Istanbul was known as Constantinople. The first Hagia Sophia was featured as a wooden roof and the first structure was burned in 404 AD. And then it was rebuilt by Archidio's successor, Theodosius II, and the construction was completed in 415 AD. The second Hagia Sophia contained 5 naves and a monumental entrance, and it was also covered by a wooden roof. But 1 century later, the structure was burned for the second time. So here is the point where I am going to discuss the construction of Ayasofiya and the things that involve in the construction of Ayasofiya. So on 23rd February 532 AD, only after the destruction of Second Basilica, Emperor Justinian I decided to build a third and the entirely different basilica, larger and more majestic than the previous one. Justinian chose geometer, an engineer, and a mathematician and architects for the construction, and the marbles were bought from all over the empire. More than 10,000 people were employed for its construction. This was new church. This new church was recognized as a major work of architecture. Now moving towards how this church was converted into a mosque. So on 29th May 1453, when Istanbul was conquered by Ottoman Empire, then the Sultan Mehmed II converted this church into a mosque. Then the priest and the religious personnel continue to perform the Christianities, and they do their prayers and they do their ceremonies until finally began to force to stop by the invader. So this was the time where the church was fully converted into the mosque, and then Mehmed attended the first Friday prayer on the mosque on 1st June. So this was the time the church was totally converted into the mosque. So further details will be discussed by my other group members. So I hope you will understand this part.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nafisa Javed and my roll number is 001. I am the second member of my group. My part is Roman Catholic from 1204 to 1261. Church period. First church. The first church was known as the Great Church, or in Latin Magna. ecclesia because of its larger dimensions in comparison to the contemporary churches in the city. Inaugurated on 15th February 360 by the Arian bishop Eudoxius of Antioch. It was built next to the area where the imperial palace was being developed. The nearby Hagia Irene church was completed earlier and served as cathedral until the Hagia Sophia was completed. Both churches acted together as the principal churches of the Byzantine Empire. Writing in 440, Socrates of Constantinople claimed that the church was built by Constantius II, who was working on it in 346. A tradition which is not older than the 7th to 8th century reports that the edifice was built by Constantine the Great. Zonaras reconciles the two opinions, writing that Constantius had repaired the edifice consecrated by Eusebius of Nicomedia after it had collapsed, since Eusebius was bishop of Constantinople from 339 to 341 and Constantine died in 337. It seems possible that the first church was erected by the latter. The edifice was built as a wooden roof. It was preceded by an atrium. It was claimed to be one of the world's most outstanding monuments at the time. The Patriarch of Constantinople, John Chrysostom, came into a conflict with Empress Ilia Eudoxia, wife of the Emperor Arcadius, and was sent into exile on 20 June 404. During the subsequent riots, the first church was largely burned down. Nothing remains of the first church today. Second church. A second church was ordered by Theodosius II, who inaugurated it on 10th October 415. The basilica with a wooden roof was built by architect Rufinus. A fire started during the tumult of the Nika revolt and burned the second Hagia Sophia to the ground on 13 to 14 January 532. Several marble blocks from the second church survived to the first. Among them are reliefs depicting 12 lambs, representing the 12 apostles, originally part of a monumental front entrance. They now reside in an excavation pit adjacent to the museum's entrance, discovered in 1935, beneath the western courtyard of A.M. Schneider. Further digging was forsaken for fear of impinging in the integrity of Hagia Sophia.
Okay, first of all, Assalamu alaikum to all of you, and my name is Muhammad Shahir Ali and my roll number is 004. This is first time for me to record a video like this, so please ignore my mistakes. Now it's time to make third church from Hagia Sophia on 23rd February 532, only a few days after the destruction of the second church. Emperor Justinian I elected to build a third and entirely different church, larger and more majestic than the previous churches. More than 10,000 people were employed. This new church was recognized as a major work of architecture. The theories of Hieron of Alexandria may have been utilized to address the challenges presented by building such an expensive dome over so large a space. Earthquakes in August 553 and on 14 December 557 caused cracks in the main dome and eastern half dome. The main dome collapsed completely during a subsequent earthquake on 7th May 558. The crash was due to the too high bearing load and to the enormous shearing load to the dome, which was too flat. These caused deformation of the piers which sustained the dome. The emperor ordered an immediate restoration. He entrusted it to the Isidorus the Younger, who used lighter materials as elevated the dome by 30 feet, giving the building its current interior height of 55.6 meters. Moreover, Isidorus changed the dome type, erecting a ribbed dome with pendentives whose diameter lay between 32.7 and 33.5 meters. This reconstruction, giving the church its present 6th century form, was completed in 562. In 726, the Emperor Leo issued a series of edicts against the veneration of images, ordering the army to destroy all icons. At that time, all religious pictures and statues were removed from the Hagia Sophia. The church suffered damage, first in a great fire in 859 and again in an earthquake on 8 January 869 that made a half-dome collapse. Emperor Basil I ordered the church repaired. After the great earthquake of 25 October 989, which ruined the Great Dome, the Byzantine Emperor Basil II asked for the architect, creator of the great churches of Ani and Argina, to repair the dome. His main repairs were to the western arch and a portion of the dome. The extent of the damage required 6 years of repair and reconstruction. The church was reopened on 13 May 994. After the recapture in 1261 by the Byzantines, the church was in a bad state. In 1317, Emperor Androsius II ordered 4 new buttresses to build in the eastern and northern parts of the church, financing them with the inheritance of his deceased wife Irene. New cracks developed in the dome after the earthquake of October 1344, and several parts of the building collapsed on 19 May 1346. Consequently, the church was closed until 1354 when repairs were undertaken by architects Astras and Peralta.
Hello, my name is Junaid and now we discuss about the mosque of Ottoman period. Commissioned by the Imperial Justinian in the early 6th century, the Byzantine Basilica was the great architectural achievement of early Christian church. When the Ottoman Turks conquered in 1453, instead of demolishing the Hagia Sophia, they converted it into a mosque. But there was no escape that the fact that the conversion was superficial. Islamic element has merely been bolted onto a church. Somehow Christianity was always showing through. There came a time when the partially makeover was not good enough, not any rate for the greatest of Ottoman rulers, Suleiman the Magnificent. So when he decided to build a new mosque, unencumbered by Christian leftover, he was making a point for Allah, and he was making it directly in a rival, the Holy Roman Emperor and the Pope. Ironically, the master building order to create the Great Friday Service Mosque has been born in Christian. Me Marcina on the Janissary converted into Islam as a child and the conscripted into a crack householder troop of the Sultan. Suleiman order was trailing but then entering a great dome surrounded by the half domes. Four minaret, a structure of immenseness, has stood the imperial mosque. The wood is called a ayasofiya. 40 a font of the ritual ablution, so the transformation the building into a kile. That is a vast social complex. The best known by the Hagia Sophia restoration was one lead between 1847 and 1849, but the Sultan Abdul carried out by more than 800 workers managed by two Italian Swiss architects named Brother Gaspar and Cassio. Added a menaber and 8 circular panels 7 to 5 meter in diameter, which were hung on 4 central pillars, registered by the name of Allah, the Prophet Muhammad, and the first 4 caliphs Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, as well as those both grandchildren of Muhammad. In 1815, Fosty built a new gallery of Sultan in the Bio-Byzantine style, connected with the royal discharge house situated behind the mosque. Outside of the building was set up a new building for the guard of time and new madras. Minarets was modified so as to equalize that respectively height. The finished restoration, the mosque was reopened in luxury ceremony on July 13, 1849. Thanks.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asadullah and I am 5th member of Group 1, and I am going to discuss about last 2 steps. I mean conversion of mosque into museum and then museum into mosque. So starting from museum in 1935, the Turkish president and founder of Republic of Turkey, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, transformed the building into a museum. The carpets were removed and marble floor decorations such as omphaline appeared for the first time in centuries, while the white plaster covering many of the mosaics was removed. Nevertheless, the condition of the structure deteriorated and the word monuments found placed ayasofiya on 1996 and again in 1998. The building's copper roof had cracked, causing water to leak down over. Moisture entered from below as well. Rising groundwater had raised the level of humidity within the monument, creating an unstable environment for stone and paint. The WMF secured a series of grants from 1997 to 2002 for the restoration of the dome. The first stage of work involved the structural stabilization and repair of the cracked roof, which was undertaken with the participation of the Turkey Ministry of Culture. The second phase, the preservation of the dome's interior, afforded the opportunity to employ and train young Turkish conservators in the care of mosques. By 2006, the WMF project was complete, so many other areas of Hagia Sophia continue to require significant stability improvement, restoration, conservation. Hagia Sophia is currently, by 2014, the second most visited museum in Turkey, attracting almost 3.3 million visitors annually. Then in July 1, 2016, Muslim prayers were held again in Hagia Sophia for the first time in 85 years. On November, the Turkish non-governmental organization, the Association for the protection of historic monuments and the environment filed a lawsuit for converting the museum into a mosque. The court decided it should stay as a monument museum. On 13th of May 2017, a large group of people organized by the Anatolia Youth Association gathered in front of Ayasofiya and prayed in the morning prayer with a call for the reconversion of the museum into a mosque. On July 21, June 2017, the Directorate of Religious Affairs organized a special program broadcast live by state-run television TRT, which included the recitation of the Quran and prayers in Hagia Sophia to mark the Laylatul Qadr. So now I am going to discuss about reconversion of Hagia Sophia Museum into mosque. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has declared Istanbul's Hagia Sophia open to Muslim worship after a top court ruled that the building reconversion to a museum by modern Turkey founding statesman was illegal. Erdogan made the announcement on Friday, an hour after the court ruling was revealed. Despite international warnings not to change the status of the nearly 1500-year-old monument revered by Christians and Muslims alike, the decision was taken to hand over the management of the Hagia Sophia Mosque to the Religious Affairs Directorate and open it for worship. The decision signed by Erdogan said Erdogan has previously proposed restoring the mosque status of the UNESCO World Heritage Site, a focal point of both the Christian Byzantine and Muslim Ottoman empires, and now one of the most visited monuments. And it was concluded that the settlement deallocated it as a mosque and its use outside this character is not possible illegally. Turkish top administrative court said in the ruling, the cabinet decision in 1934 that ended its use as a mosque and defined it as a museum did not comply with the, as it said, Youth Association. So it was my part. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you very much.